Welcome everyone to the Yes Prep Virtual College Fair. Thank you for joining us this morning. I have a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. If you have a question specific to a school, either during or after they've presented, make sure you name the school in your question so that they know to answer your question directly. Your cameras and microphones are off. The panelists cannot see or hear you, so get comfortable and just concentrate on the great info you're going to hear over the next 45 minutes. This is just one of many different sessions happening. Be sure to sign up for additional ones this morning if you're not already full at the same website you signed up for this one. And this presentation is being recorded. It'll be available within about a week. Again, the same website where you registered. Here's the order in which the institutions will be presenting this morning. We are in session A1. You can see the little fake laser pointer highlighting that for us. So with all of that out of the way, I will get out of the way and turn it over to our first institution. We'll hear from Carleton College.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Winnie Lotto. I am one of the Assistant Dean of Admissions at Carleton College, and I'm going to quick share my screen so you can see a photo of Carleton. But Carleton is a small private liberal arts college located in Northfield, Minnesota, and a lot of people think about us in a small town, but I like to give proximity of where we're located. We are actually located 45 minutes south of the Twin Cities. So you'll hear about Minneapolis and St. Paul, and so we're 45 minutes south in a small town. Another fun fact about Northfield, Minnesota is that we do have two private liberal arts colleges in our town. And so it is Carleton and St. Olaf College that are located in Northfield. Today I want to talk to you about what makes us unique as a small private liberal arts college. There are many small private liberal arts colleges across the country, but specifically for us at Carleton, we are an institution that is well known just because we are one of the top liberal arts colleges. But essentially for us, being a top liberal arts college means that we want to make sure that we're providing a really strong experience for all students to engage in that experience. As you can see in this slide, we have 2,000 students on our campus coming from all over the world in general. And so students do want to make Carleton a place that they can call home over the course of their 4 years. Most of our students are coming out of state. So it's a really awesome opportunity to see just diversity in the geographic space. When we think about socioeconomic diversity at Carleton, we are a school that meets 100% of demonstrated need for all of our students. And so that's really important for us to make sure that the student body is representing the socioeconomic structures of the nation at large. In addition to that, we also talk about our racial diversity. At Carleton, it's roughly at 32% students who identify as domestic students of color. On a given year, 14% of our students are first generation, and so we want to make sure when we're thinking about diversity, we're making this an experience that is inclusive to different kind of experiences and backgrounds at large. And Carleton specifically is an institution that very much values the liberal arts education as well as the residential community. So I want to take time to talk about the academic experience particularly because that is what sets us apart as liberal arts college. First and foremost, we are an institution that runs on a trimester schedule. So most of you might be familiar with a semester setting, 8 classes in a given day, or you might be on quarter setting, or you might be on a trimester schedule. But for us, we run on a trimester schedule, which means that you'll spend 10 weeks within a term, and you'll spend fall term, winter term, and spring term on campus. And then in your 10 weeks, you're only taking 3 classes. Fun fact about our trimester schedule, after your fall term, you actually get 6 weeks off. That's a very long time. If someone gave me 6 weeks today, I'd start crying, right? Like it's a great amount of time for you to take off of the academic space, and then you come back in the beginning of the new year. And so our trimester schedule allows for students to have a lot of flexibility. We're an institution that offers 33 majors. We're a major minor institution, and students don't declare their majors until their spring term, their second year on campus. So you have a lot of time to explore. In our majors in general, we require students to complete distribution credits. And so that says, hey, we're going to give you a broad topic. Maybe qualitative reasoning is a course that you might consider. But qualitative reasoning is not just exclusive to the STEM area. So we want to make sure that you're using data to help inform the way that you might be looking at certain subjects. One thing that is really important is that each student is required to complete a comps project in their senior year. And so a lot of students really are excited about this opportunity to work on something. Every student has the opportunity to research at Carleton, but it's not that you're waiting until your senior year to research. There's fellowship programs that we have on campus that allow for students to engage in those areas there, or you can travel off campus and engage in research in those kinds of experiences too. But the comps project is really just a big landing mark for all of our students come their senior year. Tons of students who graduate from Carleton can get jobs based off of their comps project. It helps them with their application process to maybe graduate programs, and the list goes on. And so the academic experience at Carleton is really one that students cherish over the course of time. I quickly want to spend time talking about the campus life, which is important for our students. And so when you think about showing up on a college campus like Carleton that is residential, you want to know that there are spaces in which you can engage yourself in, whether it's being involved in a varsity sport to student-run organizations. That's what we have. As a residential community, we want to build community and want to help you find your sense of belonging, whether it is going to a center that focuses on intercultural and international life, to being able to use our counseling centers on campus or the recreational facilities. We're obviously an institution that wants to make sure that when you are on campus, you have the opportunities to explore in and of itself. And so I really appreciate the Carleton life. Students get to be unapologetically themselves on our campus. And so it's really neat to see the different ways that students are engaging with one another. I know that time is coming up, but I want to thank each and every single one of you for joining us here today. And should you have any questions about Carleton at large, you are welcome to contact us, and I will pass it over to the next person.
Winnie, thank you very much. I want to remind everyone to, if you have any questions, either for Winnie at Carleton College or for any of the other presenters, use the Q&A button on your screen. And if it's specific to one school, please name the school in your question. Up next, Claremont McKenna College.
Thank you, Russ. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yanali Ruiz-Bus, Assistant Dean of Admissions at Claremont McKenna College, located in Southern California. I'm going to use my 6 minutes here by showing you a brief video that will share out the distinguishing programs at CMC. So I'm going to share my screen here really quickly.
Claremont McKenna College is a place where problem solvers, leaders, and people with different life experiences come together to solve problems of today and tomorrow, to put collaborative, responsive, and responsible leadership to work for everyone. Funded by the GI Bill, CMC's first students were returning World War II veterans. These early days allowed them to apply their real-world experience, combine it with their education, to apply themselves as leaders and entrepreneurs. What started out in 1946 as an all-men's college has become a vibrant and diverse liberal arts community that provides students with opportunities for small class sizes and individualized mentorship. It provides students with experiential opportunities that pair real-world impact with interpersonal development, open-minded inquiry across a spectrum of disciplines, professions, and personal causes. Claremont McKenna's tight-knit community includes about 1,300 students with nearly 6,000 across the 5 Cs. As part of the 5 Cs Consortium, students are given the opportunity to take classes across the other colleges, helping to expand their skills, knowledge, and conversations. Each day, students are challenged to listen, learn, and teach each other. CMC's student body is made up of students across the globe, including 46 foreign countries, as well as 47 U.S. states and territories.
At CMC, students can expect a rigorous academic environment, and they'll have many options to choose from along their academic journey. They can choose between majors and sequences. They can pursue a double or dual degree program. They can even choose one of our interdisciplinary majors, including the Philosophy, Politics, and Economics program, or the 3-2 program in Economics and Engineering. The 3-2 program allows students to earn a Bachelor's of Arts in Economics from Claremont McKenna, along with a Bachelor's of Science from an accredited engineering school over the course of 5 years, with 1/3 of the student population earning either a dual or double major, an 8-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio, an average class size of 18 students, and nearly 80% of our students conducting research with faculty. The CMC experience is like no other. CMC is also home to 11 research institutes and centers, which gives students access to graduate level research and mentorship from faculty and professional researchers. Students are also able to work within a cohort of students who share interests and ambition. The research institutes also give students access to on-campus workshops, guest speakers, and national conferences. To learn more about the research institutes and centers, click the link above.
CMC provides an ongoing proactive guidance model for opportunity that starts from your first day. The Seoul Center for Student Opportunity, for example, helps students to recognize, cultivate, and translate their interests and strengths into meaningful real-world experiences through our sponsored internship and experience program, scholar communities, and career services. The CMC Scholar Communities program includes a number of need and merit-based opportunities to help reduce the number of financial barriers students face. The sponsored internship and experience program allows students to take on opportunities both here and abroad that are either unpaid or underpaid. Career Services helps our current students and alumni create a roadmap with goals and strategies to achieve them. Along with our networking treks, other off-campus opportunities include the Washington, D.C. and Silicon Valley semester. Both of these programs allow students to travel to either Washington, D.C. or Silicon Valley for the entire semester for a full-time internship. For more information on these programs, click the link up here.
Some students here might tend to overlook off-campus opportunities due to the amount of exciting on-campus opportunities we have here at CMC. Student life on campus here is flourishing through residential living, clubs and organizations, varsity athletics, club and intramural sports, affinity groups, student leadership, on-campus dining, and of course the amazing lineup of activities planned by our college programming board. Campus life here really offers a wide range of opportunities for students to socialize. The Athenaeum Speaker Series, for example, is the heart of our intellectual and social engagement here for our students. Guided by principles of civil discourse, viewpoint diversity, and a candid exploration of today's most pressing issues. The Athenaeum hosts renowned scholars, thought leaders, and change makers, brings them to campus for a shared meal and lecture 4 nights a week. And what's awesome about this is that our students can actually attend as many of these Speaker Series events as they'd like throughout the academic year. For those of our students who like to stay active, they can take advantage of our Robert Civilian Center right here on campus, which is our state-of-the-art training facility. You know, if you want to work out, go for a run, maybe even find a quiet study space, whatever the case may be. However, don't overlook those game nights in the gym as they can get quite loud and fun and exciting. We have about 30% of our CMC students here that are Division III varsity athletes. And we also join forces with 2 other colleges in the consortium, Harvey Mudd and Scripps, to create the Claremont Mudd Scripps teams. Our scholar athletes here balance their schoolwork and their sports commitments, all while facing off with our across-the-street rivals, Pomona Pitzer, in their games throughout the academic year. Some other things to note is that CMC, we do accept the Common App.
All right, to make sure I am going to wrap up on time, I just want to go ahead and share that Claremont McKenna College meets 100% of demonstrated financial need for U.S. citizens, permanent residents, DACA students, and documented students, and we are need blind in our reading process as well. I'll go ahead and drop a link to the video in the box and my contact information as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And want to remind anyone who has a question, use the Q&A button on your screen to ask that question. Again, if it's for a specific school, make sure to include that in your question so that they know to respond to you. Up next, Grinnell College.
Hello, I am going to share my screen here as well to show you just a few photos as I'm talking. My name is Emma Opoka. I'm an admission counselor here at Grinnell College. I'm also a Grinnell alum. I graduated in 2012. Then I went off and did some other things, and I've recently come back and joined our admission team. I want to share some basics with you about Grinnell. So we are a small liberal arts school located in the middle of Iowa, Grinnell, Iowa. I do mean small when I say small. Our community is home to about 9,000 people living in the town. and then just about 1,700 students attend our school. Even though we are a small school, our student body is actually surprisingly cosmopolitan. Actually, only about 7% of our students come from the state of Iowa. And that's not because we don't love admitting and enrolling students from Iowa, but we have a very national and international presence and draw students from all over the world. 20% of our student body is made up of international students, and then that other 73% of students come from across the country here in the US. Aside from that geographic diversity, our students are really representing a range of diversity in terms of identity, background, experience, worldview, really across the board. And that is also very important to the kind of community that we're putting together here in Grinnell. So all of that is to say that you really are living and learning with a range of students who are going to have a lot of different backgrounds and experiences than you. And the students I think that are best served by our community here in Grinnell are students who are willing to really lean into that difference and that exchange. Here's a picture of a really popular study space and like cafe space on campus called the Spencer Grill. And in this space, we do hang flags that represent each of the countries that we have students enrolling from each year. So that's kind of a nice little visual representation. I think at some point, all of the small liberal arts schools kind of blend together, and we have a lot of different resources and opportunities that we have available that I think are really similar to our peer schools and some of the schools you're hearing from today. We have those small class sizes, that low student to faculty ratio, but something that I think sets us apart a little bit is our individually advised curriculum. It is that more open curriculum style. We don't have core or general education classes that you have to take to graduate. In fact, there's only one required course that all of our students have to take, and that is this first year tutorial course that I'm going to tell you about in just a moment. But what this means is that you are free to explore a range of courses and topics that are interesting to you before, during, and even after you declare your major. I think Carleton mentioned, we don't ask students to declare a major until the end of their second year. So again, there's just so much time for you to really explore your interests with us before you make that decision. As you see here, about a third of our students double major, and I think that's because there is this room in your schedule when you take away those core requirements. So you both have the opportunity to go wide, to get that breadth, but you also can really go deep in a number of subjects that interest you. The one required course that I mentioned, the first year tutorial, is a really great kind of introduction to college at Grinnell course. It is the one course where you know you're going to be all in, a room with all first years. Everybody who's in the room is also brand new to the community, just like you. And this is how we're going to get you on board with how we teach and learn at Grinnell. We're going to get you acclimated to the level of writing and research that's expected, help you practice those presentation skills, introduce you to all the academic resources on campus. And then I think also socially, it's really nice. It can be a good space to meet maybe like some of your first friends on campus. Very importantly about this course is whoever teaches this course is going to become your academic advisor until you declare a major. So here's a student meeting with her tutorial professor for the first time. This person's going to see you in your first class, get to know you really well, meet with you outside of class, one-on-one, and be that kind of guide with you as you lay out your course schedule for the first semester, the first year. Once you do declare your major, then you will choose a new academic advisor from your major department, but this person's going to just help get you started and introduced to our curriculum. A few things that we really focus our resources on. One, off-campus study. The vast majority of our students study off-campus at some point, and we have programs all over the world that we partner with. So there's a lot of opportunity for that more traditional study abroad experience. But we also offer course embedded travel, which means that you can take courses on our campus with our Grinnell professors, but then at some point in the semester travel internationally with your class to just explore what you've been studying in a more hands-on way. Here's one example of that. Another example of one of those courses, but that's just another opportunity for you to get more of that kind of cultural exchange. We also focus a lot of our resources on research opportunities for students. All students are going to research at some point in their classes, but then we also offer some deep research opportunities through mentored advanced projects, which are basically individual research relationships you develop with a faculty member. They take on a lot of different forms. I think it's easier always to imagine the kind of research that happens like here in the science lab with the goggles, but there's also a lot of research opportunities in the humanities and the social sciences as well. Of course, one of the big benefits of this opportunity to do research is it gets you that taste of graduate level work and gets you thinking about whether or not grad school is in your future. A large portion of our graduates do attend graduate school within 5 years of leaving Grinnell, but here you can see some of the first destinations. And a lot of our students are pursuing some more employment experience right off the bat. But whatever your aspirations are for after graduation, Grinnell is pretty all in helping you get there. And we have individual advising in terms of post-graduation planning available as well. Thanks so much for your time. And I'll look forward to seeing some questions in the chat. I'll pass it back to you, Russ.
Thank you very much, Emma. And as Emma mentioned, the Q&A is where you can ask questions of our presenters. And if you have any, please use that and make sure to name the school if you have a question for that specific school. We are halfway through our presentations, and up next will be Johns Hopkins University. Let me say it correctly.
All right, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and screen share as well. My name is Monica Herrera. I am the Regional Admissions Counselor for Houston. I'm also an alumna of my university, so I did attend Hopkins. There we go. All right, so we'll get started about where we are. We're located in Baltimore, Maryland. So that is right on the East Coast in Mid-Atlantic. We are the nation's first research university. And so we were founded as the nation's first research university, still the leading spenders, spending over $2 billion a year on research. So lots of opportunity for our students to get involved in that. We'll talk more about it in a second. But you can also see that we are part of a larger network at Hopkins. You might have heard of us recently from the Bloomberg School of Public Health. They're the ones who created the coronavirus map, or maybe one of our other parts of our institution, but we'll be focusing on the Homewood campus, which is the name of our undergraduate institution. And so Homewood is a residential campus. Our students are living on campus for the first 2 years. You'll live off campus for the last 2 years. We do have an off-campus housing office. That just means that the university doesn't own the building. You're not commuting in. You'll just be walking to campus as anyone else. You can see while we are located in the heart of a city, we still have that residential feel of the green quads and being really only 10 minutes away at most from your next class, your dorm room, or the dining hall. Homewood is comprised of about 5,600 students. That does make us a mid-sized institution of the Krieger School of Arts and Sciences and the Whiting School of Engineering. However, we don't admit to major, and so you will just be applying to the university as a whole. We do have over 50 majors and 40 minors that our students can be a part of. About 60% of our students will either double major or minor in any combination of those things. When I was a student, I was a neuroscience major with a minor in museums and society. So truly with that liberal arts curriculum, you can do any combination of majors and minors that you wish. You also have time to explore. Since we don't admit into programs, you have until the end of your first year to declare for engineering. And for non-engineering students, you have until the end of your second year. So you have time to take classes in different areas and figure out what your interests are, add on those majors, add on those minors. We also have a distribution system as well. Our distribution system has 5 different areas of the humanities, social sciences, natural sciences, engineering, and quantitative areas, meaning that we don't have a core curriculum. We will never tell you what classes to take, but we will ask you to take classes in the different areas so you can really build those skills and be a well-rounded student and bringing in those different perspectives and working with others from different backgrounds. And so you can really choose and tailor that curriculum towards what your interests are, since you have a lot of say over what classes you'll actually be taking in those distributions. And that even goes for your majors as well. They're very interdisciplinary, but you can dive deeply into what it is that excites you about that program. And so you and your best friend could be the same major and not take the same classes, because you really do have a lot of control over your academics while at Hopkins. And when it comes to things outside of the classroom, like I mentioned, we are the nation's first research university and the leading spenders. And so there are a lot of opportunities to get involved in it. Our students really are curious and want to know more about the world. There's a lot that's unknown, and that's something that we embrace at the university and trying to find the answers to it. So that's what research is. It's just asking a question, something that we don't know about or want to know more about, but taking it to that next step of actually trying to find an answer. And so that's what our students are doing with our faculty members, not only at the Homewood campus, but at all parts of our institution. So on that first slide, you saw that there's multiple parts of Hopkins. They're all within the Baltimore, DC area, which means you can do research with our Homewood campus faculty, but also down at Carey Business School. If you're curious about gender bias and venture capitalism, you can do it at the Public Health School. If you want to know more about, how food insecurity affects a community, or the International Studies School down in DC. And so you have all of these different elements. It's happening in every single department, so it's going to look different. It might be a documentary, it might be working with stem cells to reverse paralysis, or it might even be going international and trying to understand water scarcity in the Pacific Islands. Students have all these different opportunities to get involved with professors or do their own research. Given that we have that funding opportunities, they can get their own funding for their own projects and questions they have. Also being located in a city, we have really great internship opportunities in our backyard with Baltimore and DC, but you can also get involved with things across the nation or even globally by working with our different support services like the Life Design Lab, which is our version of a career center, or the Study Abroad office. So you can get these hands-on professional experiences at any point in your career as an undergraduate student. And then when it comes to things outside of the classroom, college is a living and learning opportunity in which you are moving your entire life. So you're not just there to be a student, but also an entire person. Lots to do on and off campus. We do have over 400 student organizations, kind of climbing up there, getting close to 500 now. So everything from performing arts to pre-professional, fraternity and sorority life. We have special interests, which is like our outdoor pursuits or the Super Mario Smash Brothers. Our Fly Student Network, which is our first gen limited income. So lots of different things that students can get involved in. They're also all student run, which includes their campus traditions. So our students really do control the campus environment that's happening here. They have a lot of say of what's going to happen, the events they're holding, the speakers, the concerts, all of those things. Right now, we're actually in the week of Hoptoberfest, which is one of our big fall traditions. And so they're even bringing that to us virtually, which you're still having their petting zoo. It's just virtual. So you're watching the penguin feeding at the Maryland Zoo or things like that. But typically, like even with this virtual space, they're still bringing it all in. You can see on this slide our different decision plans. I will touch note on our financial aid policies. We do meet 100% of demonstrated need for all of our students. We are need blind for our DACA undocumented domestic and U.S. citizens permanent resident students, as well as we are no loan institution. And so we, in our financial aid packages, provide scholarships and grants, the free money you don't have to pay back, or work study. So we are also a no loan institution. All right, I'll wrap up there and pass it over to the next college.
Monica, thank you very much. I want to remind everyone, we've had a lot of questions in the Q&A, but if you have one for either a specific institution or in general, go ahead and use the Q&A button to ask those questions, and the reps will be answering them throughout the presentations. Up next, we'll hear from Rice University.
Morning, everyone. We're going to share our screen as well. Here it comes. All right, so my name is Nelson Mendoza. I'm joining here by my colleague. I'm gonna pass it on to her in a second, but I am a Yes Prep alum, so I graduated from Yes Prep Southeast, so I'm happy to be with you. I was in your shoes a number of years ago, and I am an admission officer. I recruit from North and East Houston, so Yes Prep Northbrook, North Central, East End, Southeast, kind of draw a line around Houston, and that's what I cover. And Shanna?
Hi, so I'm Shanna Castillo, Assistant Director. So I do cover other parts of Houston that Nelson does not cover. And I also used to be a college counselor at Yes Prep North Central, so I may see some familiar faces in the future. So we'll go ahead and get started. So Rice has 6 schools of study. We have architecture, engineering, humanities, music, natural sciences, and social sciences. You're going to name one of these on your application and up to 3 majors. And so you can put any 3 majors across the different schools. Also, we don't have a core curriculum like the other colleges here. We do have a flexible distribution, which allows you to choose courses that really excite and engage you. So next. So next we have over 45 centers and institutes on campus where you can do research. We are a research institute, and around 68% of our students do at least some type of research while they're here on campus. And also students who will do internships and research, that's about 88% of our students. Next. So our faculty are very accessible and encouraging. So yes, they are doing research and they're in class, but you're not only going to see them in the classroom. You're going to meet them for coffee. You may play soccer with them out in the lawn later. Because we are a small school, you are able to build these relationships with our professors. So we have a 6:1 student to faculty ratio, and our average class size is 14. Next.
So this is my part. So Shanna has shared a bit more about academics at Rice. I'm going to share about student life. And so at Rice, most students will live and eat all 4 years of their Rice time in a residential college. The residential colleges are essentially residence halls, but the summer before your freshman year, you get randomly assigned to one of the 11 colleges. That college becomes the home of students. You can see pictured here, Hansen College and all of their pride in their colors and their t-shirts and their logos. And every college has its own student government. So if you like getting involved in student government, they each have their own student government that has a huge budget to put on social events, parties, community building events. They also compete in intramural sports, where each college basically has like a soccer team or a powder puff team, which is all girls tackle football, and they're playing against each other to win the President's Cup. So it's an actual trophy. And so throughout the year, there's a lot of rivalry between the colleges and a lot of fun. Also, a lot of students get very involved in student clubs at Rice. There are over 280 student clubs, everything from cultural clubs to political clubs to community service clubs. If you don't find a club that suits you, then Rice gives you money to start your own club. Also, we have an NCAA Division I athletics program. We have 14 D1 sports teams. We are in Conference USA. If you like watching college sports, Rice students get free tickets to our D1 games. So you don't have to pay anything. You can just go watch our sports games. To tell you a bit about the support networks that you'll have at Rice, academic support is probably a primary part of your support system. Your academic support network will include professors, other staff, Rice alumni, and even other students. Our peer academic advisors are usually older students in your residential college who can provide tutoring to you, who can provide tips, study tips. If you're stressed out about your chemistry exam, they can help you study for your chemistry exam. And so they will be there to provide support. Our Office of Multicultural Affairs works with our student groups to put on events and workshops that make Rice a more welcoming and accepting environment. So they're working with student clubs this month to put on our Hispanic Heritage Month events. So in September and October, we're having events for Hispanic Heritage Month. In February, they'll put on Black Heritage Month events as well. And throughout the year, they put on a lot of cultural shows. And they also give a lot of free food. So that can be something you can take advantage of. And then our Student Success Initiatives Office, they focus more on our first generation and low income students at Rice. Anyone can access their resources, but they are open, they do target our first generation and low income students with resources, appointments, and workshops.
Right. So we're going to talk a little bit about financial aid, and we all have financial aid offices. We all offer scholarships, but the Rice investment is something a little bit different, where we're helping not only low-income families, but middle upper income families to afford Rice. And so, of course, we are 100% we meet demonstrated need for undergraduate admitted students. For international students, we are need aware, but for everybody else, we are need blind. Our merit scholarships are offered through the Office of Admission, and so your admission application becomes your scholarship application. And so to learn more, go to our financial aid website, and we do accept the FAFSA and CSS profile. Next. So this is what we're looking for when we're reading your application file. And so I know we only have 20 seconds left. Next, we have our list of our application checklist of what is required to go through the application. Next, Nelson. And if you do have questions after this, email us at admission@rice.edu. Thank you so much.
Thank you both. Appreciate that. And I'm going to share the schedule here. And then one last reminder about using the Q&A button to ask questions. We have a lot there so that the reps will be catching up with those throughout the rest of this session. Up next now, we'll hear from Vanderbilt University.
Awesome, thank you so much. And let me go ahead and share my screen. It's just a rolling presentation. So anyway, good morning, everyone. My name is Mackenzie Marino. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm your admissions counselor at Vanderbilt University. So Vanderbilt was founded in 1873 after a generous gift of $1 million from the Industrial Revolution tycoon Cornelius Vanderbilt. He had a lot of power and influence in the shipping and railroad industries and was nicknamed the Commodore. Guess what? Our mascot is the Commodore, or Doors, as we like to shorten it to. We love playing off that naval theme here in landlocked Tennessee. We are located in Nashville, Tennessee, and the capital city of the state. Our colors are black and gold, and we are Division I in the SEC. We're the only private school in the SEC, so private in the sense that there's no difference between in-state or out-of-state tuition. Now, we are a liberal arts institution, so this means that we value students getting exposure to a variety of different ideas, disciplines, beliefs, backgrounds, and perspectives. We are mid-sized. We have around 6,900 undergraduate students and around 5,800 graduate and professional students. We offer 10 different schools and colleges, 4 which are for undergrads, and I will touch on those in greater detail. Amongst those 4 undergraduate schools and colleges, we offer 70 different majors and approximately 100 different minors. We definitely encourage interdisciplinary studies. In fact, around 1/3 of our students double major, and around half have at least one minor. And you can take on different areas of study across the schools and colleges. So that is something to consider. You are not limited to the school or college in which your primary major is housed. Things you should know about our student body. Around 42% of our students self-identify as students of color. This is incredibly important to us as we continue to shape and build a class more reflective of society, right? More reflective of the world we all live in today. So while we recognize we still have a ways to go, in fact, I think this most recent class, that number is actually 47%, we are excited for the potential that this number holds. Now, of course, we know that race and ethnicity are not the only indicators when it comes to diversity. And for diversity to be successful, we need inclusion. So, other things about our students. You should know that we have students coming from all 50 states, 3 US territories, and around 700 international students from about 90 different countries. In terms of political beliefs, about 1/3 identify as conservative, 1/3 moderate, and 1/3 liberal. Many of our students are first-generation college students. We have a range in socioeconomic status all across the board. Differences in sexual identities, orientations, abilities, religions, traditions, practices, etc. And we also have something called equity, diversity, and inclusion at Vanderbilt. And in EDI, we have our various identity centers, which includes the Student Center for Social Justice and Identity. Now, whether you hold these identities or you are wanting to learn to be a better ally or advocate, we have these resources in place for you. Speaking of resources and support, Vanderbilt is privileged to have a lot of systems of support, and again, those resources at its disposal. This could be in the form of our speaker series or our music performers that we bring to campus. I saw Beyonce back in 2018. Was she everything I ever wanted? Yes, and then more, okay? We have our rec and wellness center. You can rock climb, participate in club sports, intramural sports, maybe check out massage therapy. We also have something called the Student Care Network, which includes our University Counseling Center, the Health Center, our Office of Student Care Coordination, and the Center for Student Wellbeing, where you can learn about time management, meditation, mindfulness, and even experience one-on-one coaching. Now, Vanderbilt has around 420 student clubs and organizations on campus. The typical Vanderbilt student, in addition to being highly collaborative, is definitely involved. Of course, in student life, but also in the classroom. We have around a 7-to-1 student to faculty ratio, and around 80% of our classes do have students or fewer. Around half of our students do partake in undergraduate research, and around half of our students do study abroad. Now, when you apply to Vanderbilt, you will do so through the Common App, Coalition App, or the QuestBridge app, and you will select one school of choice and subsequently your major of choice. Now, we have those 4 different schools and colleges: the College of Arts and Science, the School of Engineering, the Peabody College of Education and Human Development, and the Blair School of Music. So it's important that you demonstrate fit on your application. Now, popular majors at Vanderbilt in A&S, College of Arts and Science, include neuroscience, molecular and cellular biology, biochemistry, medicine, health and society, political science and economics. In engineering, computer science, mechanical engineering, biomedical engineering. In Peabody, human organizational development is by far the most popular. And then Blair, it depends. Blair is a conservatory. So Vanderbilt offers 3 decision plans: early 1, early 2, and regular. Remember, if you're applying early, it is a binding agreement. Make sure you go online and fill out that net price calculator. This will help you determine whether or not Vanderbilt is a good financial fit for you and your family. Another thing related to financials, we have something called Opportunity Vanderbilt, which makes 3 promises. The first is that we are need blind for all US citizens and eligible non-citizens. The second is that we are committed to meeting 100% of your demonstrated financial need. And the third is that we will do so through scholarships or grants. So we want to make Vanderbilt affordable for you and your family. Thank you all so much for paying attention. I know I'm just about at time. I will put my contact information in the chat, but stay safe and healthy, everyone. Go Doors, anchor down, and hope you all are having a good morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mackenzie. And want to give each of our panelists time to answer questions that are in the Q&A right now. A note to everyone is that these questions will be forwarded to each of the reps after the session. So we've only got 3 minutes left in the session, so they may not be able to get to all the questions that have already been asked, but they will get a list of the questions and will be able to follow up with you. Also, you've got the names of each of the representatives from each of the schools, so you can use their contact information to contact them. I want to thank everyone for joining us as our panelists answer the questions in the Q&A. When you close this window, there'll be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. And also, this is just one of many sessions hosted. Sign up for additional sessions if you've not done so, if you don't have a full schedule this morning or this afternoon. And in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all the other sessions recordings at the website where you signed up for this, so you can go back and review some of the information. We had a lot of questions in this session because we had several hundred attendees. So appreciate your patience on the answers there. And again, I'll leave the webinar open for a couple minutes here as the panelists attempt to answer the questions. But again, I'm going to state it that they may not be able to get to all of your questions. They will be forwarded, though, to them so that they can follow up later. Again, thank you very much for attending and have a good rest of your day. Note to everyone still in the room, I'm going to need to end the session here in about 30 seconds as I have to go to the next session that's coming up at the top of the hour. Again, as a reminder to everyone who asks questions, they will be forwarded to the representatives and they'll have the opportunity to follow up once they get that list of questions. I want to thank everyone for participating today.